In this video, I'll go over an overview of inverse functions. For this first function, we have f of x equals 3x plus 4. To turn this function into an inverse function, we have to turn the f of x into a y value. To do that, we have the y equals 3x plus 4. Now for the second step, we have to switch out y with the x. This gives us x equals 3y plus 4. Now at that step, we should be very familiar on how it should be going from now on. We basically want to have the y value by itself. To do that, we subtract 4 from both sides, leaving us with x minus 4 equals 3y. And to get the y value by itself, we divide 3 from both sides, thus cancelling out the 3. Now at this point we have the answer, but we can't leave the y like that. We have to write it into an inverse notation. And now the inverse notation is written like so. And we plug in the answer, which is x minus 4 over 3, and this will be the answer. For this next example, we have f of x equals 2x minus 2. Pause the video to try it out. Okay, so remember now, first step is to have the f of x value into a y value. And so we write it as y equals 2x minus 2. And then we have to switch y with x. This leaves us with x equals 2y minus 2. Now at this step, we just have to have the y by itself. To do that, we add 2 to both sides. So x plus 2 equals 2y. And to have the y value by itself, we have to divide 2. And these cancel out. And now we have y equals x plus 2 over 2. Now, as I told you before, we can't have the y value like this. We have to write it as an inverse notation. And the notation is written like so. And we just plug in the answer. And this is our answer. What if we're given a fraction? Like in this problem, f of x equals 2 over 3 x minus 4. Fraction or not, we still have to follow the same set of rules. And the first rule is to turn the f of x into y. And it's written like that. 3x minus 4. The second step is we switch out y with x. X equals 2 over 3y minus 4. We don't switch out the value, we simply switch out the variables. And at that point, we have to isolate y by itself. To do that, we need to move 4 to the other side. So we have to add 4, giving us x plus 4 equals 2 over 3 y. At that point, to cancel out the fraction, we have to multiply by its reciprocal, like this. 2 over 3 times 3 over 2. And whatever we do on that side, we have to do on the other side. So x plus 4 times 3 over 2. This leaves you with 3x over 2 plus 6 equals, and these cancel out, equals y. And remember, you can't write the y value like this. You have to turn it into an inverse notation, written like that. Equals 3x minus over 2. And that's your answer. Try to solve this on your own. Refer back to the previous one if needed. Okay, remember, first step is to turn f of x into y. You switch out the variables. And by that step, you need to have y by itself. To do that, you subtract 3 from both sides. You get x minus 3 equals 2 over 6y. And remember, when left with a fraction, you have to multiply it by its reciprocal. Like this, 2 over 6 times 6 over 2, and whatever you do on that side, you do to the other side. After solving this, you get 3x plus 9 equals y. Write this in an inverse notation. And then you plug in the answer, and this is your answer. Now, how do you go about finding the inverse function of a function with a radical sign? Turn f of x into y. And then you switch the y and x variable. You have to add 2 from both sides to cancel it. But why specifically the 2? That is because it's not part of the radical sign. It is isolated by itself, and you want to get the easy part out of the way. You are left with x plus 2 equals. Now what do you do after that part? Don't be put off by the radical sign. When you're given something like this, you simply want to square root it. But what if it has a 3 here instead? Then you want to cube it. What if it has a 4? You want to raise it to the 4th power. And since we have nothing in here, we're going to automatically assume it's a 2. And when it's a 2, you want to raise it to the 2nd power. And whatever you do on that side, you do to the other side. These cancel out, and you're left with equals y plus 3. Focus on that part specifically, because you need to solve it to get the inverse function. When I'm faced with a question that is being squared, I'm going to have to FOIL it. And to do that, you write to this part as many times as there is in here. And because it is squared, I'm going to have to write it twice. To FOIL it, we go x times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. We go to that side. X times 2 is 2x, and 2 times 2 is 4. Write it again, but this time add the common values. Like, we have 2x plus 2x. We can simply write it as 4x plus 4. And you're left with something like this. Equals, don't forget the other side. Okay, so you have to have the y value by itself. To do that, you subtract 3 from both sides. You get x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals y. And that's your answer. Remember to put it in an inverse notation. And then you plug in what you got. And that's your answer.